How did this come about, Zach, best on your knowledge?
This has got Jim Irsay written all over it. I mean, like you said, Rich, and I was kidding, by the way. Like you said, this is unprecedented territory. This hasn't happened where you've hired an interim coach at this level that hasn't coached in college and hasn't coached in the NFL in 6 decades. That's how long this has been. And this has gotten Jim Irsay written all over it because this is the third straight move that he has ordered from the top. And you go back to the first one, it was Carson Wentz last year. They're getting him out no matter what. The second one we talked about a couple of weeks ago on your show, and that was to bench Matt Ryan against, I think, my opinion, against Frank Reich's wishes, who was the coach at that time, and against the wishes of the team. Like, they always talk about the locker room. Chris Ballard, the GM, always says the locker room knows. Well, the locker room knew that you were benching Matt Ryan, and I'm not omitting his struggles. He turned the ball over, he fumbled, but they're a better team and they're a better offense with Matt Ryan versus Sam Ehlinger. And then to finish my point, the third move is not just to fire Frank Reich, it's to go hire a coach who, and I think both things are true. Jeff Saturday's an awesome guy. He's an awesome dude. He is a heck of a football player. He's also very unqualified for this position, and that's the third gamble that Jim Irsay is making. And it just feels like this team is falling further and further into disarray and dysfunction.
So why does anybody know why Irsay turned to Jeff Saturday? Why is there any reporting at all on this here?
Because he likes him. Like, that's the only tangible answer we got in a very wild 35-minute press conference last night. And just to paint a picture for those who didn't watch, like, I got a text from someone who used to work in the building as a coach who called it embarrassing. I mean, we had a mention of a rocket ship going to Mars. We had a mention of Michael Jordan and the missed shots he made in his career. We had a CIA mention, and we had Al Davis quotes. I mean, it was just a winding, circuitous, random press conference that really didn't give us an answer to your question, why Jeff Saturday. They loved him as a player. They love him as a man. But, Rich, this guy literally flew in yesterday to Indianapolis and had to meet his coaching staff because there's guys on his coaching staff he's never met. They play a game in 5 days, and he doesn't know who's calling the plays for it.
I honestly, I don't even know what the follow-up question is to this, Zach. I've never heard of anything like it, and it puts, everybody in such a position, including Saturday. All I'm hearing from folks is around the league is how unfair it is that Saturday gets to skip the line. And that's no reason for Jeff to not accept it. I mean, he can't sit there and go, well, so many other people are deserving. I will not accept your opportunity to become an NFL head coach of the team that I love. So I don't begrudge him from saying yes, but I still don't understand why, other than Irsay was railing against coaching scared and relying on analytics, and here's somebody who's not scared. Is that really all it is? There's nothing else to it? Really? Gut and feel? Zach?
With Jim Irsay, it's hard to find tangible explanations for things, right? I mean, why did they move on from Carson Wentz? They didn't like him.
Well, and to be honest with you, Zach, I mean, that one, I had a front row seat at the combine for that. Everybody was just talking about, that was the worst kept secret when Ballard and Frank Reich was coming to the booth talking about Wentz, in a way that he was still present, and they couldn't wait to get rid of him. And that was kind of understandable based on what we saw in Philadelphia and the way that the season ended. And the Ryan acquisition was also understandable. I got that. This one, though, is totally beyond understanding. I don't get it.
It's beyond bizarre. You're right, because of the options they had. And I'm not saying these are great options, but you've got two former head coaches on staff. John Fox has coached 3 NFL teams, 2 of them to a Super Bowl. Gus Bradley's been a head coach in the NFL. Scotty Montgomery has been a college head coach, and Scott Milanovic has been a CFL head coach for 2 teams. And then you've also got Bubba Ventrone, who's a special teams coordinator, who's starting to get a little interest from a head coaching perspective. So if you're going to go back to that, if you're going to even just go back and try and grab the glory days, which they constantly try to do, Reggie Wayne is on staff as the receivers coach. So this took everybody by surprise. Some of the, just the responses I got from people inside and outside the building yesterday were, what are they doing? Is this for real? This feels like a circus. And just Saturday is a great football guy. I get that, but there's a huge, huge, huge step from being a great center in the NFL and even a high school coach to being an NFL head coach in 6 days. This is absolutely unprecedented.
Zak Keefer of The Athletic covering the Colts here on the Rich Eisen Show. It is currently 1:30 p.m. Eastern time on the day after this all went down. It's a Tuesday. There's a game on Sunday in Las Vegas. Who's calling the plays in that game, best you can tell, as we are talking at this very second?
Peyton Manning, Pat McAfee. You got any time Sunday? Who knows? To be completely serious,
yes.
It's probably Scott Milanovic, but this is how bizarre this is. I mean, Jeff Saturday was interviewing members of his own coaching staff last night to find out who would be calling the plays. I mean, that's where they're at. And this is, let me remind you, the worst offense in football, the worst offensive line in football. They didn't, they had the worst day in 25 years, Sunday in Foxborough. They had an 0 for 14 day on third down, and they had 120 yards, their worst since 1997. The year before Peyton Manning arrived. So all those things can be true about Jeff Saturday being a great guy, and I bet he gives them some punch, some energy that they need. But they also, they're having this guy walk into a buzzsaw of a team that needs help on offense, and I don't even know what the offensive scheme looks like right now because, frankly, they're running out of people to fire on that side of the ball.
Wow. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.